One way you can speed up data entry for an asbestos survey is to use our material quick fills feature. So quick fills are something that we can add to any form, and we have a separate video on this, so please check it out. But in the context of an asbestos survey, material quick fills mean that you can fill in several fields in the inspection section at the same time, specifically the material input, surface treatment, and product score. What the quick fill won't fill in is the extent of damage, which we'll go into in a second. So let's go ahead and add a new inspection item, and I'll show you how this works. So I'm going to put in the building, the level, and the location. There's nothing new here. Now I'm going to select item, and you can see we could just fill in the form manually by clicking into each field or using the little magnifying glass option to save us some time. But if you have material quick fills enabled on your account, there's an even faster way to do this. You'll notice we've got this little lightning bolt in the top right hand corner. This isn't on the template by default, but if we've added the material quick fills to this form, it will be available. So if I tap this button here, you can see we're presented with a list of materials. Now, these are the materials that we have in our sort of default, I guess you'd call it, but yours might be completely different. I'll go into that in a second. But you can see if I select bituminous product, for example, it's going to populate the material, which is great. Also, if I scroll down and I select our strategy, a sample, you can see it's also put in the product type and the surface treatment. These are based on our interpretation of the HSG 264, and you can see that the little hints underneath do tell you what that relates to. So I'm going to change the quick fill to something else. I'm going to scroll back up so we can see the changes. This time I'm going to say encapsulated insulation. It's going to prompt me that some information on the form is going to be overwritten. That's because we've already got the material, product type and surface treatment. If I hit OK, it's going to overwrite those fields. So you can see now we have encapsulated insulation as the material. If I scroll down, you'll notice those scores have changed from 1 and 0 to 3 and 2. Now the material quick fill fills what it can, so we can infer the product type and the surface treatment based on the material. What we can't do though is tell you what the extent of damage is, because that's going to change from one inspected item to the next, so you will still have to pop that in. I do also want to mention as well that using the material quick fills doesn't mean you can't change them. So for example, if you think this is 2, there's nothing to stop you from changing that from a 3 to a 2. The purpose of the material quick fill is just to save you some time and save you from having to remember or recalculate what those values should be every single time, especially if you always use the same scoring for a certain material. Now, one thing I did mention briefly is that this list here is based on our language. It's based on our materials that we would suggest to you. However, you're the expert, you are the surveyor, and no doubt you will have your own language for materials. Some of ours might not make sense to you. So what we do is we actually don't include this material quick fills by default. So if you want material quick fills on your asbestos survey template, the process is this. First of all, get in touch and let us know that you want this feature. Then we'll send you a spreadsheet with our default suggestions, so our materials like you see listed here, along with the corresponding product types and surface treatments. You'll then have an opportunity to check this over, suggest any changes that you want. For example, if you use different language for materials or you've interpreted the scoring differently, you then send your preferred spreadsheet back to us with any changes included, or just give us some comments about the things you want us to change if there's only a few. After that, we'll apply the quick fills to your account, and when you go into this form, into the inspection section, you'll see that lightning bolt and you can start to use it right away. It's worth mentioning as well that the quick fills are also available on the dashboard. So if I was to add an item here, you'll see we have this quick fill option too, and we can use it in exactly the same way that I showed you on the mobile app. So I hope this has been useful. If you do want this feature, please get in touch.